Fashion, fast fashion.
Fast fashion,
Of fashion, fast fashion.
Proposals cracking down on fast fashion.
Term fast fashion.
What is fast fashion? Fast fashion is an umbrella term used to describe when companies or retailers mass-produce trendy clothing with low quality and cost, often using unethical methods. This term first originated in 1990 when the New York Times wrote an article about a new fashion retailer called Zara. Zara opened in New York City with a goal of transforming a fashion designer's ideas into a piece being sold on racks in just 15 days. Some examples of current fast fashion retailers are Shein, Temu, H&M, Zara, and Forever 21. Fast fashion is bad for many reasons, but we'll start off with the environment. Most fast fashion products don't last very long, meaning they end up in landfills quickly, and the more waste inside of the landfills, the more it fuels climate change. In fact, the fast fashion industry actually fuels 10% of all global carbon dioxide emissions, and some of it also ends up in oceans, which greatly damages aquatic life. Fast fashion is responsible for around 1/3 of all microplastics that end up in the ocean. Also, less than 1% of material used to produce clothing is recycled into new clothing. Another reason why fast fashion has a negative impact is because of the unethical labor used to manufacture the clothing sold by fast fashion companies. The workers there are paid minimum wage or less. They don't get paid for overtime either. While some of the people working in the manufacturing factories are there willingly, there's a percentage of people who are forced to work. If that isn't bad enough, workers are also exposed to hazardous chemicals causing cancer or poor physical health. Some factories have also been proven to be using forced child labor. Fast fashion is largely built off of exploitation. Without it, they wouldn't be able to maintain their low prices. And lastly, there's the quality and production of products from fast fashion brands. Fast fashion production leaves a harsh carbon footprint, and it makes use of synthetic materials. Synthetic materials are cheap fibers that cost less to produce than wool or cotton, which are natural fibers. Some examples of synthetic materials are polyester, nylon, and acrylic, all of which rank somewhere in the top 10 most used materials in fast fashion. The cheap materials not only affect the overall quality of the product, they are also bad for the environment. In fact, the materials are often burned with fossil fuels, one of the main factors of what's fueling climate change. On top of that, companies also choose to have as little involvement with production as possible, so they don't get in trouble for the exploitation of workers or anything else related to the production process. While companies like Zara and H&M are still relatively cheap with a price usually ranging from $10 to $30, Shein and Temu often manage to keep prices below $10. The reason for this lies within the shipping process. While H&M paid millions of dollars for duty fees, Shein and Temu both paid none. This is because of a shipping provision called de minimis maximum, which allows you to pay no duty fees for packages under a retail value of $800 USD, which is approximately 1,156 in CAD. However, these cheap materials and exploited workers are also a big part of how Shein and Temu keep their prices low. We interviewed 50 people and asked these questions. Do you know the impacts of fast fashion? 34% of people replied with no or not really, while the other 46% of them said yes, I am aware. For the second question, we asked the interviewees if they had ever bought anything from a fast fashion company. And only 6% of people said no, and the rest, a whopping 94%, said yes. Finally, the last question asked was, were you aware of the effects of fast fashion when buying products from the company? With 74% of people reporting that they did not, usually followed by them saying they don't anymore, now that they do know the effects. 26% of people saying that they unfortunately did and may continue to do so. How does all of this affect us? Fast fashion mainly affects us in ways we don't notice, although we will later if nothing gets done about it. Fast fashion mostly affects us environmentally, considering that it's the second largest consumer of water, a major contributor to carbon emissions, water pollution, and waste. If fast fashion continues to grow at the rate it's going at currently, It'll soon impact us and cause further environmental damage. Who is already working on this issue? The government does practically nothing when it comes to fast fashion. However, there are a few non-governmental organizations that are working on trying to solve this issue. Some of them include Center for Sustainable Fashion, Greenpeace, Waste and Resource Action Program, and Triad. What can you do to help solve this problem? There are so many ways to effectively get fair quality clothing without shopping at fast fashion stores. One of the best ways is to buy second-hand clothing from thrift stores or Facebook Marketplace. Most of the clothing sold there will still be in good condition. You could wear hand-me-downs from your relatives before they throw their clothing out. You should even consider giving your clothes to relatives or friends, giving it to your local thrift stores, or donating it to charities. Another good way to help solve fast fashion is buying from sustainable brands that have proper ethics in place. Some of those brands include Patagonia, Levi's, Toad & Co., and Stella McCartney. You can also do your own research on what brands are ethical or not. And thirdly, you can buy from fashion brands that offer higher quality clothes. Higher quality clothes are more expensive, but they last a lot longer than the cheap clothes made by fast fashion brands, which means that it's more worth your money. Clothes that last longer mean that it'll be a while before they end up anywhere. We hope that this documentary has inspired you to buy less from fast fashion brands or stop buying from fast fashion entirely. It's hard. Fast fashion is addicting. The cheap prices are almost irresistible. But it is our hope that one day, everyone will be able to quit fast fashion to make the world a better place.